All right, it's Tuesday with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning here for the Center Square, where you can find headlines at thecentersquare.com. Get the newsletter in your inbox each and every weekday morning by signing up, not just for what's going on in Illinois, but also across the country. And also get the podcasts. Where you get podcasts, just search Illinois in Focus and you'll find it. Plenty to tackle today. A couple of segments. We'll talk about a bill that Governor J.B. Pritzker has on his desk that the small business community is urging him to veto. But we'll also tackle the back and forth between President Donald Trump and Governor J.B. Pritzker about, a couple of things. One, the issue of crime in Chicago, and two, the issue of no cash bail. So stay tuned. Those are the things we're going to tackle here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Again, you can wake up with us each and every weekday morning here and join the live chat. Pretty lively group that's always plugged into what's going on. Many of them joining us each and every weekday morning, so appreciate them for that. But definitely share it up with your friends. Tell them this is a place where they can go and get a quick overview of what's going on in Illinois so that they can continue on with their day. It's right here with Illinois in Focus, powered by the Center Square.
We have an incompetent governor there. Pritzker's an incompetent. His family threw him out of the business, and he ran for governor. And now I understand he wants to be president. But I noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe he has a chance. You know, you never know what happens.
As to everything else that he had to say this morning, I guess I should say thank you for the compliment. And
it's just a little bit of the back and forth between Governor J.B. Pritzker and President Donald Trump yesterday, as the president's announcing he's taking over Washington, D.C. to help law enforcement there crack down on crime, hinting that he might use the National Guard in other areas of the country, and also taking aim at no cash bail, something that Illinois has in place. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get going here. Go to thecentersquare.com where you can sign up for the newsletter, get these headlines and more in your inbox each and every weekday morning. But obviously the story we're focusing on here is Trump takes aim at Chicago crime, no cash bail, while singling out Pritzker. Pritzker says Trump has no right to send the Guard to fight crime. So again, you can read this story and also watch the video for yourself as well. But let's get into this because President Donald Trump had announced the evening before that he was indeed going to hold a news conference to discuss safety in Washington, D.C. And he talked about the use of the National Guard with the White House secretary, essentially laying out some of the other executive actions that President Donald Trump took yesterday.
In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
The second major executive action that President Trump signed was a presidential memorandum directing the Secretary of Defense to utilize the National Guard to address the conditions we see on our streets here in D.C. It also authorized the Secretary of Defense to work with state governors to utilize their National Guard units if necessary as well.
So you got the idea of possibly using the National Guard. And this is something that has been brought up before in the past when, there was crime issues in Chicago and even back during Governor Bruce Rauner's tenure in Illinois. He was asked about should the National Guard be coming into Chicago to help solve crime. So clearly something that's been talked about for a while. But Governor J.B. Pritzker held a news conference later on yesterday and was asked about the possibility and the potential of President Donald Trump utilizing the National Guard to help fight crime in the Windy City.
There is a law on the books confirmed by the Constitution called posse comitatus. And it means that the federal government does not have a right to send soldiers into American cities for the purpose of, for any purpose really, but specifically to fight crime, let's say. And that is what he's suggesting that he will do, violate that law. It's not surprising to me that he suggests violating the law. He's done it many times and been convicted of it 34 times. And so I would just say he has absolutely no right and no legal ability to send troops in to the city of Chicago. And so I reject that notion.
Well, and if you look at some of the law here, I mean, they can send the guard in, but in coordination with the governor of a state. So Pritzker would have to essentially work with the Trump administration in utilizing the guard for law enforcement purposes. Something that's a different situation in Washington, D.C., because that's not a state. It's a district. So you've got the complexities there really coming into focus with this issue. But obviously, Trump talking about the issue of public safety, especially in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere. He singled out Pritzker in particular when talking about possibly sending the guard to other places like New York, L.A., Chicago.
But then I'm going to look at New York in a little while. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's see. It's going to go pretty quickly. And if we need to, we're going to do the same thing in Chicago, which is a disaster. We have a mayor there who's totally incompetent. He's an incompetent man. And we have an incompetent governor there. Pritzker's an incompetent. His family threw him out of the business, and he ran for governor. And now I understand he wants to be president. But I noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe he has a chance. You never know what happens. But Pritzker's a gross incompetent guy, thrown out of the family business.
Definitely not holding back on the words he's choosing to use there from the President of the United States. Pritzker's been asked time and again if he's running for president. He was even asked on Meet the Press over the weekend, where he said he's not ruling anything out. We'll hear more from the governor yesterday. But here he is directly responding to President Donald Trump, calling him incompetent, but also, in a way, saying, hey, he looks like he's losing some weight.
As to everything else that he had to say this morning, I guess I should say thank you for the compliment. And you have to remember that I reject criticism and don't really want to respond to criticism from Donald Trump, who inherited his money and then went bankrupt 6 times and then defrauded his business partners. And by the way, he cheats at golf too. So, look, I believe that, I have had a successful business career. I know that. And I chose to run for governor because I believed that our state was headed in the wrong direction. And we have righted the ship. We have a lot more work to do, but we've done a whole lot to make sure that we're keeping people safe and improving people's income levels and attracting business to the state. And by the way, we've balanced the budget 7 times in a row, and we've raised the minimum wage. And And we have a whole lot more work to do, no doubt about it, but I think my intentions are clear, and unlike the president, I'm not trying to make money off of my public position.
This is the back and forth I fully anticipate we'll hear for the next 2 years, even more so heading into the 2026 gubernatorial election, with Pritzker having to be, answering questions about if he's vying for a bid for president in 2028. He was asked about that specifically, including recent comments he made about not ruling anything out and just the national presence he's been getting lately on the Colbert Show, on Meet the Press, on various other podcasts and national news programs. Is the governor looking to run for president?
The only decision that I have made is the decision to run for re-election as governor. That's the decision that I've made about my political future. Frankly, I love the job that I have now. I'm working very hard at it. I want to continue to work hard at it. I hope that I get remembered someday for having done good things for the state of Illinois, and I want to follow the course of the things that we've already put in place and many things that we still need to do. And so I love the state of Illinois, and my comments about anything else really were that I am guided to a large degree in almost everything I do in my life about what I think is best for the people of the state of Illinois, and I'm going to continue to be guided by that.
It's not necessarily a no, he's not running for president. It's more of a I've only announced that I'm running for governor type of answer. But, we've heard similar responses to similar questions in the past. And I believe that question is going to just continue to follow Governor Pritzker as he runs for a third term here in the state of Illinois. Back to President Donald Trump yesterday. While he was announcing issues concerning public safety in Washington, D.C. and other states and other cities, he also took aim at the end of cash bail, something that Illinois did statewide in 2023, bringing about the end of money bond for certain types of crimes. So somebody could be arrested for a certain crime, get processed through the jail, but then let out pending trial with no cash bail. Other crimes, people can, even though they're innocent until proven guilty, get processed through the jail and be kept behind bars pending trial, regardless if they have the financial capacity to bail themselves out. There's no cash bond anymore in the state of Illinois. Trump says these types of policies are hurting jurisdictions that have it, like in Washington, D.C., and in states like Illinois.
This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central, no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime, totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things, and we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote.
How is that going to play out? Not sure. I'm pretty sure that when it comes to state-level offenses, the state's going to have control over the bond system. And when it comes to federal crimes, that's handled by the federal government and federal prosecutors. So we'll see how that plays out. But Pritzker wasn't asked about Trump talking about ending cash bail or reversing the end of cash bail. But I did reach out to the Network for Pretrial Fairness, and they shared with me a statement essentially saying that Trump's policies hurt people of color and poor people. They went on to say that dangerous people are not flooding the streets. They argue that violent crime has decreased since the start of no cash bail in in Illinois. Here's a direct quote from their statement. Illinois is showing the country a way out of policies of mass incarceration that have failed to keep our communities safe. We will not be bullied by a president who's more concerned with his public image than he is public safety. The Pretrial Fairness Act is working, and Illinois is safer because of it. And you've got a lot of people pointing to decreased rates of crime. Is that because of a lack of reporting, or are there other crimes that are being reported more so? And, homicide may be down, but the arrest rates may also be down. There's all kinds of ways to slice and dice this information. And I think one thing that, the debate centers around with no cash bail is the worry of recidivism and also the morale. I mean, listen, I've got people who send me private messages that are in the law enforcement community that talk about the issue of morale and how when you have a law enforcement officer go and pick up a suspect, put them in jail, and then they're out within 5-6 hours and they see them back out on the street, that's demoralizing for law enforcement who may be wanting to do some good for the community. So you've got all of these complex issues when it comes to the end of cash bail. And on the other side of the end of cash bail debate, you've got those saying, listen, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. And when you have somebody committing or alleged to commit a low-level offense, they could not afford to be able to bail themselves out, so they're going to be stuck in jail pending trial. They could lose their job. They could, miss out on getting health issues taken care of and a whole host of other things. But again, that's only for certain crimes. When you get to more serious crimes, even though people are innocent until proven guilty, they have to stay behind bars regardless of the means that they may have to bail themselves out. So again, it's a complex issue. Illinois is the first state to do the end of cash bail statewide. And obviously, you've got President Donald Trump taking aim at that. All right, so interesting debate back and forth. Obviously, something we're going to continue to watch because it's only going to get more heated as we get through the 2026 election cycle here, and it's just revving up. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for more Illinois in Focus Daily.
If we do this, it's going to make anything that we do in Illinois likely more costly than what other states is going to be required in other states. We will again be putting ourselves at a competitive disadvantage with other states solely because of possible concern of what the current administration might do.
That's State Representative Dan Ugasti on the House floor here in Illinois concerning a bill that's now on the governor's desk that the small business community says needs to be vetoed. Welcome back, Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. So you've got hundreds of bills on the governor's desk. He's been having bill signing ceremonies for some. He's been announcing out of his office that dozens of others have been signed. The other day we went through some of the 124 bills that he announced were signed the week before. He's got a bill signing ceremony today at his ceremonial office at the state capitol here in Springfield. It's a bill concerning law enforcement, background checks, and ensuring that what happened with the shooting death of Sonia Massey at the hands of a sheriff's deputy in Springfield, a sheriff's deputy who had a checkered past but still was hired on. So we're going to hear a lot about that later on today with another bill the governor is going to sign. But again, he's got hundreds more bills on his desk that we're fully anticipating to be signed throughout the weeks ahead. Could this be one of them? The measure is a measure concerning workplace safety requirements and the juxtaposition between Illinois law conforming with federal law for workplace safety. Back when the bill was brought up and passed in the Illinois House, State Representative Marcus Evans explained what the bill does.
State agencies are prohibited from amending or revising workplace rules to be less stringent than those established under the Federal Wage and Hour Law or Federal Coal Mine Safety Act as of April April 28 of this year. State agencies retain the authority to establish more stringent requirements than federal standards to enhance workers' rights and safety. In 2022, Illinois voters ratified the Workers' Rights Amendment and established that every worker in the state of Illinois has the right to a safe workplace under the Bill of Rights of the Illinois Constitution. Senate Bill 1976 protects that right by ensuring worker safety is not diminished. State agencies must use the authority under state and federal law to implement and enforce the act. State agencies are required to submit an annual report to the General Assembly detailing their compliance with the act.
The question here is what exactly this does, and it looks like Democrats are trying to protect the level of regulation that Illinois imposes on businesses if the federal government under the Trump administration starts rolling back some of those regulations, and that could make things disparate between the state of Illinois and neighboring states that may go along with the relaxation of federal work requirements for workplace safety and a variety of other things. So what does this mean for small businesses? I connected with Noah Finley. He is with the National Federation of Independent Business. He's the Illinois State Director, and he has serious concerns he's hearing from small businesses across the state about this particular measure on the governor's desk.
Yeah, so Senate Bill 1976 is a bill that's it's an unwarranted expansion of workplace liability and red tape. As you know, Greg, as I'm sure most of your listeners know, Illinois small businesses need regulatory relief, not more red tape, not more lawsuits. And this bill goes in the opposite direction. I was just up in the Quad Cities a couple weeks ago, meeting with small business owners from both sides of the river, Iowa and Illinois. And a common theme I heard is that it's much harder to do business in Illinois due to the administrative and regulatory environment here. And this bill will double down on that because as small businesses in Iowa, in Missouri, and all across this country get regulatory relief from Washington from some of these cumbersome red tape, Illinois small businesses will not receive that. And that will put us further at a disadvantage to grow our local economies and our Main Street businesses.
So Finley talking about how if the state continues keeping what he says are burdensome regulations on businesses while other states are dropping them because the federal government's relaxing things, it'll make things more difficult and more expensive in the state of Illinois, in a state that's already more expensive and difficult than other states, including neighboring states. Finley says that the National Federation of Independent Business is looking for the governor to veto this measure, but it does have a lot of support and may have a veto-proof majority at the State House, even if the governor was to veto it.
Yeah, I mean, it passed with large margins. It was pushed by a lot of special interests, powerful special interests, and that, so it did pass with large majorities, but that's no reason to not put a stop to bad policy, because this bill, like I mentioned, it will create regulatory disparity between Illinois small businesses and businesses across this country. So our small businesses will be facing greater regulatory burden. It will also create additional confusion for them because now there's additional layers of trying to figure out how these varying federal and state regulations apply. So they're going to have to figure that out. And mind you, like these small businesses, they don't have legal compliance teams. They don't have HR professionals. So it's going to be an extra burden on them. And then a third component, which is highly problematic, is that this bill creates an opportunity for so-called interested parties to bring lawsuits against employers. And they don't have to be representing employees at that business. They can just bring lawsuits. So it's setting the table for bad faith actors to bring shakedown lawsuits against small businesses for alleging that they violated some law. And even if the small business did nothing wrong, just risk management and cost containment will probably force many of those small businesses to settle and pay up to these bad faith actors.
And this is Noah Finley. He is with the National Federation of Independent Business. And I asked him about the impacts this will have on Illinois businesses, considering neighboring states are already, some say, greener pastures.
And that's a real challenge. And I think having talked to a lot of small businesses, business owners, there's a realization that in a state like Illinois, it's really hard to comply with all the mandates out there. There are just so many. And to start a business in this state, you probably have to be comfortable with maybe falling afoul of some of those laws and taking a risk. And that's problematic. That's not a position we should put our small businesses in, that they have to take risk of breaking some law that they know nothing about.
When it comes to the economic impacts, you've got the state of Illinois regularly lagging the national average for things like unemployment rate and GDP growth, and how that has just been a regular occurrence in the state of Illinois. I mean, even after the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, it took Illinois a decade to get back to pre-recession levels. COVID-19 pandemic. The economic impact of that. It took Illinois more time than other states to get back to pre-COVID-19 economic restraints and the level of economic activity. Noah says that, listen, Illinois regularly lags the rest of the nation, and it should not be adding more burdens onto small businesses while other states are looking to possibly relax those burdens.
Well, I think we can look at the track record, and that Illinois GDP growth and job growth, population growth have trailed the national average. And that track record speaks to itself that we're not on the right trajectory. Right now, we're seeing a lot of developing countries, France, Britain, we're seeing regulatory relief coming from Washington, but Illinois is moving in the opposite direction. So I would say we're moving the wrong direction on really making Illinois viable, making it possible for small businesses to compete in the global economy.
And then some final words from Noah from the National Federation of Independent Business talking about this bill that they want the governor to veto, but not sure if that's going to happen or not, and just anticipating the negative impacts they say are going to be hitting businesses.
I think this is just a story of we need to empower our small businesses to hire people, to grow, to take risks. And by increasing liability, by increasing red tape, we're doing none of that. This is not the direction we need to go for Illinois if we want to create a prosperous future for our small towns and main streets across the state.
We'll watch and see what happens. Is the governor going to sign this bill, or will he do an amendatory veto, or will he veto it outright? Either way, we'll obviously be watching as the governor's pen will still be busy this summer. And we've got veto sessions scheduled for 2 weeks in October. The governor actually did do an amendatory veto on one measure, so they are going to have to address that. But will he veto anything else out of the 450 bills that he is working through, hundreds of which he's already signed? Let's keep you posted. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for more Illinois in Focus Daily. All right, so all I got for you today, we've, of course, got Governor's Day tomorrow at the Illinois State Fair, so maybe we have to talk more about, is Governor J.B. Pritzker going to be running for president, despite already announcing he's vying for a third term for Illinois governor. And then you got Republican Day, Thursday. A lot of speculation as to who is going to be the leader of the Republican Party in Illinois and take on governor in the November 2026 election. We've seen some names floated, but that fair stage could be central to who is going to capture the Republican Party's attention ahead of the March primary. So we got a lot of politics we're going to be talking about the next couple of days. And I hope you'll join me, all right? So wake up with us here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Get the headlines at thecentersquare.com. Sign up for the newsletter. You can find this podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Just search Illinois in Focus, and you can make it happen. But you can wake up with us here with Illinois in Focus Daily each and every weekday morning. At about 8 o'clock, we'll go live and just keep you informed of what's going on. I'm Greg Bishop, editor of The Center Square here in Illinois. So go check out thecentersquare.com.